Florida. I'm going to make another Poppy ATC. And when I did the other one last night, I painted the center of it with some ice crystal glamour dust from Deco Art. And it looks like it would paint white, but it doesn't. As you can see, it paints glitter, but clear. Even though it looks white, it dries very clear. Okay. And I want to paint this one Wild Iris. And the reason I painted the center with this clear glitter paint is because the way that I do my painting, I generally spritz the image with some glycerin water, and I just put a dab of paint on my finger and I just rub it in, and I want to be able to wipe the paint off of this area. I don't want this to have that color because these are supposed to be white or yellow. This is supposed to be green or brown or other colors. And so that will keep this area clear so that the pigment is only in this area. And then this is the background that I want to use. It's one I created, I believe it was sometime last year. And it's got some drywall tape on it. It also has, I think it's this one. It may have been the bigger one, but this is silicone oven mat just cut into a piece, and it's actually this Wild Iris that I stenciled that with. Actually, it looks like it might be this one because of the shape. But anyway, I'm going to mute this down. First, I'm going to spritz it with some Snow White, which has some Snow White mica in it. And that's going to mute it. If it's not enough, then I'll decide what else I want to do. But I like the colors and the texture in the background. So I'm going to do that part first real quick. And this isn't really spraying that good. I need to clean out the nozzles. But I can just use my finger and spread it around if I need to. I'm going to dry it real quick. That muted it some, but not as much as I was wanting. But let me just try it and see. I'm actually just going to leave this. I don't know if you can see, I had cut the heart out of this before I had put it down. The little heart was on one of the other ones I'd done. So right now I'm going to go ahead and spritz this with some water, and I want to make sure not to get this. So you just get a piece of scratch paper and cover it up real quick. I want to be able to get the flower, just not the stem. I don't even know why I'm doing that. All I gotta do is just put the tape on, right? There. Okay. This is a fairly dark color, so I don't want to add too much. And I want to make sure I'm wiping off this area because I don't want the color in there. And it's drying already. And I want to use the paintbrush to pull in just a little bit of the dark pigment right in the areas where there is some shadowing. Actually, a couple more places I want a little bit more. Some of these areas where it's showing white is because that's where that glitter paint is at, so it's preventing the color from saturating there. And I want to just pull up a little bit of the darkness on these areas. I'm just putting some water on a towel and then picking it up. And I forgot, I do need to do this part as well. I did this yesterday too. Painted the flower and forgot about the little bloom. Need more water. Need to get some more of the darker pigment, not so much it's wet down, just to get in these shaded areas where they'd be darker. So now I need the different greens, and I'm using kiwi and palm leaf, and that would be for the stem and for this part of the plant. The darkest color is always going to be the border. That's where more of the shadowing and pigmentation are, and then the shining of the sun would be in the front, or maybe one of the sides, depending on where the sun or the light would be coming from. And I'm not a colorist, so I just scribble and then hope it turns out. Sorry about the noise. I'm sure you can hear the Rumpke truck out there come pick up our dumpster. I've put off doing a video this morning because there's been a lot of ambulance and fire trucks and things going by. And it's also Wednesday, and usually around noon we have the emergency alarm for the tornado, that practice thing going off, but it didn't go off today. And I didn't think the truck was going to come by today, but they are here. I know what's wrong is I wanted the lighter green on this part here. Why you're not working? Hold on. That's a good thing about having that painted down there. I was able to get most of that off. I left just a little bit. I wanted the lighter green on there. Okay, so now I don't need it watered down. Now I need it full strength for the stem. Go back in here. part I want it to be very light. I don't want it to be taking over that dark green. Okay, that part is done. And I think for the little pollen flowers in the middle, I'm going to use a pink color to pull the pink out of the background. Excuse me. I do want to go over this a little bit more. I do it with light pink, and I got a goober. I don't want to cover it completely. I just want to add a little bit more color so it's not all stark white. Need to refill this. And that will probably be enough. So I'm going to lay down that extra bit of pink there on one of my pages. I'm going to put this bloom over here. What I need to do on this is to do some of the dark lines to accent that as well, and then also do the white. The trick is to not get too much. You're just trying to accent it, trying to take it over with that dark color. Even I put some pigment in this area where it's covered with that white clear crystal glitter paint. It's still coming through as clear. In these dark areas, when this fully dries, I'm going to go over it with a black Sharpie. And that'll accent the lines too. My hand is starting to go numb. I feel the numbness in my thumb first. I used to be a pretty fast typist and cannot type very much for very long. I mean, even just like 5 minutes, I can't do it. And now it's traveled to this part of my hand too, my fingers. Carpal tunnel is very uncomfortable and painful. I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, early morning with my arms all numb. But it's not that numb that you can't feel. It's that numb like when your feet go to sleep and it hurts. You feel like you have ants crawling in your skin. Worked at a chicken plant in Cornelia, Georgia back in the 80s after my son was born. And I worked 60 to 80 hours a week sometimes, and cutting chicken, hanging chicken, packing chicken, depending on what the job was. I had to change job a couple of times because of the injuries to my hands and my arms from working there. And never even knew I had carpal tunnel. I didn't know that's what it was. I was never diagnosed with it. Probably didn't know till about 7 years ago. And I am 56. And this happened when I was like 21. Ah. Hopefully I don't mess it up. But they wanted to do surgery on my hand because when I would get off of work, and this would be when I'd be cutting the chicken breasts, and the knives would be super, super dull, and you would still have to be cutting the chicken because it would come by on a hanging conveyor. And I'd get off of work, and my hand would literally be like it was locked around the knife, and I couldn't open it, and I would struggle to be able to hold my steering wheel to be able to drive home to go pick up my little boy. And I remember them telling me that, you know, they could do surgery on my hand to open up the sphincters that were locked. And I asked them, I said, well, when you do this surgery, can you guarantee you're not going to damage any other part of my hand? And they were like, no. I'm like, well, then you're not touching me. So ever since then, whenever someone's talking about, you know, wanting to do surgery, I'm generally telling them, no, that's not happening. The only surgeries that I did have was I had my tonsils removed in 80, I believe it was 87. And then last year in July I had my gallbladder removed. And I was having really severe gallbladder attacks. Put me in the ER. The doctor I had, his last name is Eldridge. His name is John Eldridge. An excellent surgeon who, it's like when you think of a kind of a doctor that you would feel safe and trusting your health with. He is that kind of a doctor. Awesome bedside manner, just a smiling, happy person who really cares about their patient. One of the best doctors that I've encountered in my medical, the medical aspect of my life. It took me about 2 months to recover from that surgery. And when I went back to work, I didn't stay at my job for very long. I was having a lot of other medical things going on, and then I started having severe anxiety attacks and coming really close to passing out every time I got to work. So I just ended up having to quit my job. I couldn't deal with it, and people like, well, then just don't have anxiety attacks. It's like, yeah, if it was simple enough as just determining that you weren't going to do it, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so I think that's enough on there. And so I'm going to use that really light pink. Can't believe I left the top open on that. It's terrible. Okay, I'm back. I'm ready to try to finish this. I have some Purple Passion Glamour Dust, and I'm going to paint over the flower with this. And this purple has more of a blue hue than the red hue, but I think it'll just add to the flower. If I wanted it to match the color, I could actually have just added a little bit of red acrylic or red glitter paint to make it match more the original color of this. And sometimes with this glitter paint you get more glitter in areas than others, and I don't know why it does that, why more glitter settles in one place over another. Just basically have to keep trying to make sure you move it. So there's that, and then I just need to do this part too. I'm going to add this in my excess paint book on a couple of pages. And then I need to glue this down. I'm not going to pop it up. I don't need to worry about letting it finish drying. And I'm putting this really close to the top and turning it so the flower fits on completely. And then to do the bloom. And then the thank you. And I figured I would just put it here. I don't know about putting it straight. So I'll put it off a little cockeyed. And I just need to cut these off. And then I need to put some edging on. And I have this, I call this eggplant. It's a dye ink from Studio G. I got at Joann's about 3 years ago, and I love it. It's one of my favorite colors. Okay, there we go. Just let me know what you think. You can click on the thumbs up to let me know you like it. Leave a comment below to let me know what you think. Subscribe. Click on the little bell to be notified of any new YouTube videos I put out, and also share on your Facebook page or even on your YouTube page. Thank you. Have a blessed day.